That North America should seemingly so suddenly fall for Leonard Cohen, was this a surprise to you?
I've been plotting this for generations. I could never pull it off, you know. It is a mysterious thing how your work becomes relevant for a moment, you know, for a long time. I've been doing the same thing, you know, for the past 25, 30 years. You know, just been writing from that point of view. Like in 75, when I wrote a line like, "These are the final days, this is the darkness, this is the flood." When I wrote that, you know, 20 odd years, almost 20 years ago, you know, people, what's your beef, you know? What are you complaining about? You know, why so mournful, blue boy? You know, I think the whole tone of my work, which was, you know, vaguely apocalyptic and wild and black and with a certain kind of humor that was misread as simple depression. And I was writing out of that trouble. And I think a lot of people are in that trouble now. I feel very familiar with the landscape I see around me now.
How do you explain that trouble? What is that trouble?
I don't know exactly what it is. It's just having the rug pulled out from under you and not being able to locate yourself and reaching out very needily for another heart, for a caress, for affirmation, for whatever it is. It's just a kind of deep neediness and then a kind of manly withdrawal from that neediness and an attempt to reform yourself so that you can exist in a landscape that is blowing up all around you, which is the one we're living in now.
You don't have the music to help push the words along. So what happens when you put your song lyrics on a page?
Well, they're left there to shiver and die if that's what their fate is. You know, if they can't survive that kind of special scrutiny, then you know, they'll just be forgotten. But it's true, you know, a lot of lyrics, like English madrigals, you know, if you look them on the page, fa la 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 la, a couple of paragraphs of that don't read too well. I've tried to eliminate songs of mine that have that quality.
Is there no difference between a poem and a song?
Well, there's lots of technical differences, but it doesn't really matter. You know, when a piece of work is alive, you know it. And when it isn't, you know it. So I think poetry is a verdict. You know, it's a verdict that we give to something that moves us, that has authority and music and resonance. We call that poetry. It exists all lots of places. Some people talk that way. You know, some people talk with a special kind of heartfelt sincerity and significance. Some people talk with a kind of wistfulness, a kind of airiness, a kind of abstraction, a kind of hustle behind their voice. I mean, people have different ways of speaking. A lot of it is real poetry.
What does writing a pop song offer you that writing a poem or a novel doesn't?
Well, you know, the money's better.
It is?
Oh, yeah, it's much better.
Well, I'm glad to hear it.
You know, this is my work. Writing is my work, and you know, in your work you locate your self-respect. So I just go to work, and sometimes it's pop music. I love music, and I love writing songs, and I got very interested in the matter. I don't know why exactly.
You said that the actual songwriting process has no dignity. What did you mean by that?
Well, it has dignity in hindsight, but you can't come. I'm not sure what I meant by that. I mean, sometimes I see myself in the midst of it, or I catch sight of myself in the mirror. You know, this old guy in his underwear, you know, trying to find the rhyme for orange, and you know, playing the same phrase on his guitar 15, 20, 90 times, trying to get it right. There's something laughable and there's something absurd about that, but you know, the nature of work is repetition.
And do you come up with a rhyme for orange?
Door hinge, but nobody likes that one.
If the songwriting process is about repetition and about hard work, how do you feel about performing?
It's the same deal, you know. You've got to find your way into the song. And there's lots of ways to do that, you know. I use wine. I stumbled on this vintage wine that produced, a very acceptable kind of concert.
Mm-hmm.
And many of the musicians who drank with me agreed that this particular vintage produced a special resonance to the evening.
Concert probably would have been even better had you allowed the audience to partake in this same vintage wine.
Yes, well, that would have exceeded my benevolent resources because, as it was, we were pretty well drinking up the profit.